Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TEDXcellence, the show in which I try to become a better person by listening to people tell me how terrible I am and then internalizing it. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday, Magical Monday. Oh, my. What do we have in store today? Well, like I intimated in the opening there, we're going to learn how to become better people, everyone. And who's along with me for this journey of self-discovery? Why, Jaeger Pony, hello. Black Belt for Christ, hello. Chicago Mike, hello. Functional, hello. Crimson Tiger, hello. Kiever Dam, hello. Dark Alile, hello. That one servant of Satania, hello. Rolling Bear, hello. Gulf City Hobo Wrangler Zach Osborne, hello. Your Ridiculous Lunatic, hello. Fernanda Chestelos, hello. Shio Gorath, hello. Jen T. Maxi, hello. Ham and Beans, hello. P. Dog Knight, hello. Mr. Joestar, hello. Who's next? Mike Savage. Blarg. Tarkata, hello. Aether Toast, hello. Dr. No, hello. Heretical Cabbage, hello. Decode, hello. The Pissed Off Shih Tzu, hello. Dax Orion, hello. I refuse to let you say hello to me. Too late. Wah, wah. Okay, well, it took a bit of a little sidewise day or so off from the TEDxing. Needed a break, did a couple other things. Interview on Sunday and other such. But we're back to a new week and a new set of adventures. And so what do we have in store today? Well, as the title suggests, and as the thumbnail hopefully at least alluded to, allies save lives. 3 ways to shift from ally to ally in capital letters. I have no idea what that means. I am dying to find out. But I have a feeling, even before we begin, that if you go to the bingo card, link is in the description, we can probably safely already circle a list off of the bingo card. I mean, we'll wait until we hear it for official in the presentation, but I think we're at least 2 squares deep already. That sounded more innuendo than I meant. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people and scribbles. So I know one way to shift from an ally to an ally, and that's by holding down the shift button. Very good, Kyle. How clever. You're so clever. Luke Skywalker 2, hello. Attack Alpaca, hello. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I missed anybody, at least at this moment. Unless you haven't made yourself known, and then I can't tell. All right, guys. Per usual, start off with a couple of seconds to get a sound test. This is a relatively short TEDx at only 9 minutes, 19 seconds, but, you know, the way I am might take a while. So with all that being said, no one, nowhere, hello, Sean Uli, hello. Let us, celery, tomatoes, and carrots begin.
It was my second year as a middle school counselor.
Ooh, second year as a middle school counselor. Okay, you guys hear all that? Tall person, hello. Somnamnul Nation, hello. So this doesn't count as a childhood or family anecdote, but we do know now, at least presumably, what her career is, so we can assess that for the other square later. Audio is fine, says Ham and Beans. Sounds good, says Kiever Dam. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So with that being said, so a second year as a middle school counselor. All right.
I was sitting in my office.
Yeah.
And I heard a knock at the door.
God forbid.
In walks a 7th grader.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just call them Chris.
Let's just call them Chris. Okay. I mean, if you're hiding somebody's identity. Okay, fine.
Chris sits down, looks up at me, and says...
And says, tall person, thank you. Hoy all, I can't watch live. We'll watch in full later. Happy Moon Day, everybody. What? What? Today's Moon Day? But I live on the moon. I didn't know it was Moon Day. July 20th moon. Wait, is this when we landed on the moon? Have I just completely blanked on the anniversary of the moon landing or the moon launch? Which is it? Must be one or the other. I don't know. Either way, Yeah, John Smith, hello. Okay, it's Moon Day. Moon Day, huh? Functional says, I thought it was Monday. Well, what do you know? Well, I mean, is it officially Moon Day? That's what I'm wondering. Is this the anniversary of the moon landing? Anyway, okay, so 7th grader looks up to her and says, oh yeah, today is the day they landed. Aha! Yes, okay, it is Moon Day Monday. Okay, never mind.
Miss Kennedy,
Yeah?
it's easier pretending to be a boy than it is to be gay in this town.
A 7th grader. Okay, I did not see that one coming. All right. Yeah, no, my sensations are hovering over anecdote that did not happen, but it's not entirely outlandish given the zeitgeist of the current day. So let's proceed.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa, slow down there, 7th grader.
I was a fraud.
You were a frog? I mean, a fraud? Why were you a fraud?
Here I have a 7th grader bearing their soul to me.
Uh-huh.
I, at the time, was a 40-year-old woman of white privilege. And
okay, well, let's go to the bingo card. We got free space. That's circled for sure. And white privilege down in the corner for sure. Anecdote that never happened. Not sure yet. I'm willing to hold out, and we'll see how that plays out. But it sounds a bit too convenient. And is that really bearing their soul to you? And is that something that a kid kind of comes to a school counselor about? Yeah. Okay, I'll probably end up circling it. I'm going to give it a little bit, see if she gives us any more details or more revelations of that encounter. And then I have to actually hit the button.
I still wasn't out to my students.
Wait, so you weren't out to your students, but the 7th grader came to you to make that announcement so casually. Well, I mean, you don't necessarily... Okay, obviously you don't necessarily need to know that someone is gay as a counselor to come to them and talk to them about what's going on with you. Okay, I get that. It just seems a bit odd that they would just sort of walk in, sit down, look up at you, and just so, okay, say, you know, it's so hard being, like, really? In this town? Is that how 7th graders talk? It's been a long time since I've been a 7th grader, so I don't know.
A fraud.
Yeah. You were a fraud. So when the 7th grader walked in and made this declaration, you were a fraud for not having revealed your sexuality at a middle school where I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say it's irrelevant. But, okay.
I looked over at my desk.
Yeah.
And I saw a little orange sticker.
Okay.
The little orange sticker is from the Trevor Project.
Right. So you... Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just absorbing it all as we proceed.
The Trevor Project is the nation's leading suicide prevention hotline for all youth who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning.
Yeah, I know what the Trevor Project is. I'm circling anecdote that never happened. This is such an awkward, bizarre exchange that she says she had with a 7th grader, and then her if nothing else, her internal monologue over the whole thing is very, I don't know, it seems melodramatic to me. I'll take arguments to the contrary or, support thereof after the show's over with, but yeah.
Now it's a lot of letters. We just call it LGBTQ.
Do you? Is that all the letters? Because I've heard A and plus and a whole bunch of other things. Who are we again? Who are you representing?
And there was a statistic that I remembered from the Trevor Project.
Right then, when you looked over at your desk and an orange sticker when the 7th grader walked in and announced to you apparently that they were gay, or it's easier to, yeah, my mind's still stuck on the reality or credibility of this whole scenario.
One supportive adult, just one supportive adult, can reduce the suicide attempt rate by 40%.
Okay, and taking a step back from whatever else she's talking about, I have no opposition to that notion. Now, 7th grade, at least she's not talking about working in an elementary school, but sure, around 7th grade, 12, 13, 14, thereabouts. Okay, puberty's hitting and so on, and, kids can find what they're attracted to or experiment or whatever else, fine. Okay, it's not as unbelievable as if she was working at an elementary school. But regardless, if you're still finding out about yourself in life and there's someone in your life that's supportive, an adult or otherwise, that's a good thing. I'm not going to disparage that at all. I'm not even going to look up the statistic to prove that it's wrong or something. I'll just assume that generally speaking in life, whether you're talking about sexuality or just growing up, having a supportive adult in your life, a role model, etc., is a good thing and conceivably reduces the chances of suicide. So all fine.
40%.
Yeah, no, I heard you the first time.
Was I going to be that adult for that 7th grader?
Yes. Why wouldn't you be? I mean, unless you're, I don't know, some dyed-in-the-wool religious fundamentalist or something, which something tells me you're not if you were sitting there at that moment already gay, but just not saying it. So yes, you were going to be that person. The person who already has the Trevor Project sticker on her desk. Yes, you're going to be that person. Did I miss where there's supposed to be some sort of cliffhanger to this question?
You bet.
Well, no, I don't bet anything, as it wasn't a bet worth taking. Okay.
That night I went home and I thought about myself growing up when I was in 7th grade.
Okay, childhood anecdote. Childhood anecdote is now circled. All right.
I grew up in rural Wisconsin, and really the only thing I was pretending in 7th grade was, would I marry a dairy farmer or a pig farmer?
Wisconsin. Yeah.
Neither of them happened.
Imagine that.
I also remembered a conversation I had in 1996.
1996. That is a year that has come up relatively recently in the TEDx series. I forget exactly what it was. It was some other speaker making reference to 1996 as recently as 1996. So, okay, 1996, a seminal year for events in people's lives. What was I doing in 1996? Well, I was a year away from graduation from high school, and that's all I remember presently.
This was before Chris, my 7th grader, was even born.
Okay.
And
you know what? I can imagine 1996, 7th. Never mind.
Thanksgiving dinner, 1996.
Okay, 1996. How many different times you have to? Okay, all right. Thanksgiving, 1996. Got it.
Picture this.
I'm picturing it.
We're sitting around the Thanksgiving dinner table.
Imagine that.
Conversation ensues.
I imagine that. Yes, okay.
I happened to mention that I couldn't find a boy that I wanted to date. Didn't like any boys anyway.
Uh-huh. I'm assuming you're back in Wisconsin when you're having this Thanksgiving dinner. Okay.
My sister, who's older than I am, looks at me and says,
yes.
Well, duh, Lisa, it's because you're gay.
Oh! no! Oh no! Right there at the dinner table? In front of everyone? Now, admittedly, the cultural, let's say, climate in 1996 versus today in regards to gay and lesbian people was decidedly different. So I can see how that would be a very awkward situation, especially if to that point it was some kind of secret. And if it was some kind of secret, if it was something that was for you to mention or bring up and not for your older sister to mention or bring up, I could see how you might be a little mad at your sister. So, what happened?
Please pass the carrots.
Okay, now, if I hadn't already circled anecdote that probably didn't ever happen, I wouldn't circle it for that because she's making a joke. So, just on the off chance that there's any doubling up people are looking for.
So, okay. So I picked up the carrots, passed them to my sister, and burst into tears.
Well, you know, carrots contain a lot of vitamin A, which is a essential vitamin for good eyesight. So there's a correlation there. I just thought I'd bring that up for no reason.
True story.
I've already circled the square, so whether it's true or not is kind of irrelevant at this point.
Where I grew up, there was no option of being gay. I had no allies that I could look up to.
Well, your sister seemed awfully nonchalant about it. I mean, did your sister hate you or something? Was this done out of malice to say that in front of your entire family? I'm still curious as to know the dynamic between you and your sister that she would feel so free to just blurt that out at Thanksgiving dinner. But sure, I can believe in 1996 in presumably rural Wisconsin, there were not a lot of places or individuals that you could rely on or look up to if you were experiencing that kind of struggle. I can believe it. Okay. So if the argument here is, you know, someone who is understanding and willing to help out or willing to lend an ear to someone under pressure for whatever their situation is going to help them avoid self-harm or suicide or just depression in general, you're not going to get any argument from me. You know, on principle, you're not going to get any argument from me. So just want to state that ahead of time. So
from that moment on,
yes,
I knew that allies can save lives.
Why? Because you felt like dying at the Thanksgiving table? I mean, I can understand it. But okay. So from that moment you knew, Thanksgiving 1996, years before your student was born, and you still had to look over at the desk and the orange sticker to remember a statistic or even just the notion that an ally or a role model or a support system can save lives. So which is it? Did you have this realization at your desk, or did you have this realization in 1996 Thanksgiving? I'm confused.
3 ways that you could be an ally that saves lives would be by...
Okay, before we have a list, circling a list. Okay, circling, whoops, let me get my, no, my circle did not become a circle, it became kind of an oval. Okay, I'm very perfectionist. Okay, a list. Okay, what are the steps to become a real ally?
By showing you're an ally, shifting mindsets and perceptions, and shaping policies and procedures.
Ooh, 3 S's. Showing, shifting, shaping. Okay. All right. I'm absorbing this. I'm trying to think of it in the abstract from the specific subjects he's talking about, just in general. And it doesn't sound unreasonable. Okay.
There's no test, but I'm going to go through that with you tonight.
I figured you would, or else why would you be standing on a stage making a presentation? Thank you, Point Curation, about 15 minutes behind allyship to militancy. We'll see. We'll see where she takes it, because like I say, aside from some iffy storytelling so far, she hasn't said anything that is outright, let's see, unbalanced or unreasonable, fundamentally.
The first way that you could show that you're an ally is by wearing a rainbow ribbon.
Okay. I guess that is one way you could do that. Yes, I suppose that is one way you could do that. Or you could just have a positive relationship with someone and not have to virtue signal to the world and just be a nice person without having to prove it with a merit badge. I'm not disparaging all ribbons, such declarations or shows of support. I mean, it all depends on context, but I'm a little iffy on like, that's how you show you're an ally. How about you just be friendly and open to someone else? You know, a friend.
You don't have to go out and get a snazzy jacket like this, but if you want to, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
You could also display a rainbow sticker.
Why? I know it's a novel notion. Why not just establish a positive relationship with someone? Why not just do that? Why not just be a nice person without having to buy and invest in and display a bunch of accessories? Why not just do that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a product of my time or my own principles or something, but it's not 1996 right now. Is it really necessary? And I'm asking, Chad, I'm asking you sincerely, is it really necessary at this point to be that blatantly broadcasting your, I don't know, welcoming nature about certain demographics? Is it really that necessary? Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just naive. It's possible. Maybe I'm just too, idealistic for my own good. That's actually probably true. All the same. And I also guess it depends on what audience she's talking to. If she's talking to the older folks who people might look upon as stuck in the past or stodgy or something, maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Kieverdam says, nope, it comes across as trying too hard. John Smith says, no. Shiograth says, I only welcome bigots and bigot-adjacent peoples. Of course you do. John Miller, she really is going with the loud and proud types. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if that kind of literal symbolism really says much next to just being a good person outwardly to people that you meet in life. I mean, it's not like when I think of like having a sticker on your window, I think of this house protected by Brinks, or this house is kept an eye on by Neighborhood Watch or something. You're like trying to tell the world, warn them away from something. The people that, if that's going to matter at all in your everyday life, it's going to matter between you and someone you have a personal relationship with, where some aspect of that becomes relevant or part of just the casual conversation of a relationship. It's not going to be like, just to let everybody know as I'm driving down the road with a sticker in my window, just to let everybody know. I don't know. It seems a bit too much.
Or even a rainbow pin.
Oh, come on.
Anything rainbow symbolizes to us in the LGBTQ community that you are an ally.
Again, how about just being a nice person? How about not being judgmental of someone on the basis of their orientation? Just like skin color, it is a non-determinative attribute to someone's character. How about just that? How about encouraging that rather than encouraging, I don't know, accessory sales?
You are a safe person.
I am a safe person. Okay, well, let's say that we live in a reality where that is the rule. Does that mean anybody who isn't actively, always, consistently showing some kind of rainbow symbol is an unsafe person? That anyone who doesn't take the extra step of really making it known by broadcasting through a sticker or a pin or a ribbon, that anyone who happens to be LGBTQ cannot trust that person? I mean, are we really going for a secret society, Masonic ring kind of situation? I hope not. But okay.
You are probably a friend.
Probably. What was that quote? By their actions shall ye know them? Something like that. I'm probably misquoting. But anyway, how about just, being nice to people, not judging people? How about just doing that? Making a relationship with someone just on the basis of common interests, and they know that you're a safe person because they don't care who you sleep with or something.
So we kind of like rainbows.
We do. Okay.
I was reminded of this after a friend of mine sent me a text.
Oh my God.
She sent me a text saying that she had read one of my blogs.
Oh, a blog. Oh my God.
I had written regarding being an ally.
Uh-huh.
And the article I had written talks about going out and wearing a rainbow ribbon. So she did just that.
Uh-huh. And then?
She went out that night, got herself a rainbow ribbon, put it on her lanyard, and she did a training for her new staff, an onboard training.
Uh-huh. And afterward, okay, two possibilities here. We're either going for validating events or negative consequences. So either someone in that training meeting or whatever made a comment that was disparaging on the basis of that display of rainbow, or someone or someones came up to her after the training and said, I wouldn't have talked to you if it weren't for that rainbow, but thank you for being an ally. Those are the two scenarios I'm thinking are going to be relayed to us now. Now, it could be one, it could be the other, or it could be a combination. That's my prediction.
And after that training,
uh-huh.
This is what she's telling me in the text.
Uh-huh.
2 people came up to her and said, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for being an ally. We weren't sure what this company was going to be like and what this culture would be, but now we know that it's going to be safe for us because you are an ally. You are wearing a rainbow ribbon.
Oh, God. That's all it takes. That is all it takes. Wow. Golly gee whiz, Batman. Thank you, Chicago Mike. So if I don't have a rainbow, then does that make me a bad person in your eyes? Well, that's the implication here. The implication is that these 2 people who are in this training session, if they had not seen a rainbow thing on this lady's lanyard, they would not have known or would not have felt they were safe in this company. That's all it took. It didn't take any kind of prior relationship. It didn't take any kind of prior sense of belonging from the trainer. Everything about the training session was probably very neutral and very sort of regular orientation type stuff. But because of the signaling, suddenly they knew without a doubt, without any other prompting, without any other information, without any other interaction, now this is a safe place because we saw the rainbow. Okay, I have no idea, and if I hadn't already circled it, anecdote that didn't really happen, I'd probably circle it. But this is the kind of thinking that goes towards the whole corporate deal of on Pride Month, they change their logo to a rainbow for 30 days and then change it back. Because the presumption is that's how people think. That's how people know that you're a good company. It's virtue signaling. It's not virtue acting. That's all it is. And if you fall for virtue signaling without actually listening to what someone has to say or interacting with them or whatever else, I'm not going to disparage people that look at something like that and say, okay, maybe this is a more comfortable situation to be in. I'm not going to disparage that. There are people who are in situations or grew up in families where some aspect of themselves, whatever it is, whether it's their orientation or their interests in life or whatever, that this is a place I don't have to worry too much about being myself. Okay, I'll stipulate to that notion alone. However, it just seems a little cynical to me that all it takes is just the signal. All it takes is just the secret insignia. And that's it. That's all those two people needed. That's it. Just as long as we saw that, we know it's okay. I don't know. Thank you, Corey Suzuki. Is this a Skittles commercial? No. That I know of. There's still a few minutes left.
The power of the rainbow.
Okay, it is a Skittles commercial. The power of the rainbow.
Allies save lives by showing that you're an ally.
Through cheap symbolism and not through personal interaction or just behaving in a way that would be would commend one to being an ally or a friend. How about a friend? Can we look at that as a friend, not look at it as something like so technical and so nation state diplomatic kind of thing? I mean, ally sounds, and maybe this is just me, and I don't have the dictionary definition in front of me, but ally sounds very circumstantial. Like Russia and the United States were allies during World War II because they had a common enemy. But once that's over and done with, well, everything else can kind of go by the wayside. Ally sounds so thin and temporary a term to apply to someone. Very mechanical, very cold in a way. Maybe that's just me. Thank you, John Miller. So we have to be as superficial as possible then. Got it. Well, apparently at least to get your foot in the door or to show others that their foot will get in the door without too much effort or something, I guess.
A second way that you can save lives is by shifting mindsets and perceptions.
Okay, so and again, this applies to whatever subject we're talking about. She's talking about orientation. It could be anything. Effectively being an evangelist for whatever the thing is that you're supporting or trying to do away with the stigma of. And again, fundamentally, it all depends on what the specific thing is, but generally speaking, if you are trying to get someone on board with changing their opinion about something, that's perfectly legit. I mean, people are allowed to change their minds, and people are allowed to attempt to change minds. That's fine. I can't wait to hear what examples she has, though. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Rainbows are now the pink triangles. Are they? I mean, truth be told, I grew up knowing the pink triangle as a pro-gay symbol before I knew how it was used in World War II. I mean, I'd see the pink triangle as something, and I saw it in school, that people would use to show either that they were or they supported. It was like the rainbow of its time. It wasn't until sometime later in like junior high or something. I might have heard it earlier, but it didn't stick until late into junior high or early high school about the history of that symbol as pertains to World War II and Germany. So I was kind of surprised, I recall, to find out that symbol had been effectively, reclaimed, let's say, or transformed into something that was meant to be positive. Because I always saw it as something that was, positive, prideful in a way. I didn't see it as something that was negative inherently. It wasn't until later that I found out what its origins were. And that was kind of a weird experience. I thought, I guess you can take something nasty and turn it into something good. That was my notion. So when I hear things about we're trying to reclaim, this word or this symbol or something else, I'm not entirely against the notion as to try to sort of stick it to whoever was using that thing as a bad thing in the past. It all depends on the presentation, obviously. But okay, moving on.
All of us here are probably allies, I'm guessing, in some sense or manner of the word.
So you're preaching to the choir. Okay.
A small a ally.
A small a ally. Okay, so this is where we get into the capitalization of letters. So now it's not just you're an ally, there are degrees of allies. Okay, what does a small a ally consist of? I'm dying to know.
Is someone who might hear a homophobic joke or see a homophobic meme. And maybe they don't know what to say, or they can't say anything, even though they know deep down in their heart that it's just not right.
Or maybe they don't care to get into a fight with people. I mean, if you're really that sensitive about it and can't tell something as a joke versus something serious and a declaration of belief, maybe it's not worth fighting over. Maybe the circumstances just don't allow for it. I don't know. There are a lot of variables here, especially since you put joke on it. I mean, have you ever heard a joke about straight people? Do you inherently take that joke as hateful? Do you stand up for jokes about straight people? I wonder if our speaker has ever heard a joke that involves a heterosexual situation and has ever stood up and countered back. Very curious to know.
Now, if you were to shift from a small a ally to a capital A ally.
A capital A ally, you would walk up to the person who told the joke and elbow them in the nose. Right?
This is what a capital A ally would do in that same situation.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. She's going to tell us. Okay, what is the proper behavior for a capital A ally who has just heard a quote unquote homophobic joke? Do tell.
A capital A ally would hear that homophobic joke and say, time out, not cool, knock it off.
Okay. And?
A capital A ally would see a homophobic meme and maybe send a private message to the person who posted that and said, can you take that down? It's insulting.
Maybe? Why maybe? I mean, I thought the little a ally was the person who sort of shied away from confrontation. Shouldn't a capital A ally, without hesitation, confront the person? Why maybe?
That is what a capital A ally does.
Right, okay. Now, depending on context, I don't necessarily disagree with kind of the first example. I don't know if you're going to be changing any minds, but you could shame someone, I suppose. And shame can be a effective tool depending on the circumstances. It's one of those things that's very, very circumstantial. Is this happening in the workplace? Is this happening in a school? Is this happening in some kind of professional or academic setting? Is this happening? A joke is a joke. But like I said, my sort of professional leanings say, if I heard something like that in the office between people, I'd be like, hey guys, probably not the place for it. And I don't think I'd be off base in saying that at the workplace. In their private time elsewise, yeah. And if for no other reason than to probably save their own jobs, because God knows if that kind of stuff was found out about by management, oh, they'd be kicked out lickety-split. So anyway, thank you, Lamented Guide. This speaker's a capital K Karen. Again, I'm trying to be fair here. It would depend on the circumstances. But she is talking in absolutes and being very thin-skinned about things. Sometimes you just have to move along with your life and understand that people don't always agree with you. And like I say, I'd be curious to know if the reverse were true. If she heard a heterophobic joke or something amongst her own peers, would she dissuade them from saying such things? You know, making jokes about breeders or something. I've heard a few jokes about breeders from my gay and lesbian friends in the past. So, which I didn't care about because it was a joke. But if she heard such a thing from her own demographic, let's say, would she behave the same way? I'm very curious to know.
My shift happened from a small A ally to a capital A ally that day.
That day? Which day? Thanksgiving or sitting there with the 7th grader?
That I came out to my 7th grader.
So the 7th grader who, for whatever reason, and I can only imagine that beyond the Trevor Project sticker, you may have had some other indications of friendship displayed around your office. Because the 7th grader came out, I suppose, to you in kind of an odd way, but all right, you were inspired to come out to your student right then. Okay. I mean, sounds a little reverse, awkward, whatever, but all right. Obviously, they already felt comfortable coming to you with that information, so I don't know why you felt the need to affirm that by coming out to the student, but all right, okay.
And in my mind, it made me think about the policies that student had to endure.
So between Thanksgiving 1996 and the moment you were sitting in your office before the 7th grader came into your office, you had never before considered the circumstances, situation, or policies as pertains to gay and lesbian people, let alone youth. It had never occurred to you before to think about those things, even though you knew that you were a lesbian from the get-go. If I could circle anecdote that probably never happened twice or 3 times now, I probably would. But okay, it's your story.
So the third way that allies save lives is by shaping policies and procedures.
Okay, now this is where I'm very curious to know what her advice is. Policies and procedures. Everything else has been sort of internal, changing your own mind, helping someone, taking the opportunity to try to maybe shift the attitude in your own social group, let's say. Okay, but now you're talking about changing written down policies, procedures that affect more than just yourself in your own personal life. So as an educator, or at least a counselor, as she's indicated, now I'm very curious to know what she advocates for.
My guess is that all of you at one time or another have filled out an intake form or a registration form.
Like going to a new doctor or something, maybe? Or registering for college? Sure. Okay. I have done such a thing in my time. Yes.
Somewhere on that form, there's probably a drop-down menu. And for gender identity, it'll give you a couple of options: male, female, and other.
Yes. The other has been a more recent addition, but sure.
Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly wouldn't want to be considered an other.
Oh, for crying out loud. All right, well, then you tell me, what is the name of the third biological gender? What is the name of the third biological gender? I'm waiting. I can't wait to see what she says next.
What if that word other were changed to the word custom?
What? Oh, okay. You see, when I heard the word custom, I thought like a custom in like a tradition, that kind of thing. But she means like custom as in you can adjust the response. Okay, so you want a registration form to have male, female, or custom. Does a sub menu then come up with 78 different options elsewise?
That would be fantastic.
What really? Really? Custom. Custom as to by whose standard? I don't know. It just doesn't sound like it makes a whole lot of sense to me. Custom. From other to custom. You consider yourself either male, female, not other than male or other than female. No, but custom to male or custom to female, or that still doesn't set you apart. Really, just changing the word alters the entire dynamic. Really?
Then anyone who is filling out an intake form or a registration form could identify however they want to. Doesn't have to be male, doesn't have to be female, because I guarantee you, my friends, you're going to see a lot more people who are not identifying just in those two terms.
And so custom rather than other changes what exactly? Okay. I'm circling word salad because that doesn't make any sense at all to me. And I'm also going to circle accordingly or associatedly leaves out vital context, because what the heck is that supposed to do? I'm really all over the place on that one. And that is her first premier example of how to shape things. Okay.
That would be fantastic.
That would be switching a word and still dividing people into threes. But okay.
When I think about the places that I want to work, or even that I want to volunteer at,
Yeah.
one of the first things that I do
Yeah.
is I look at their policies. I'm weird like that.
Yeah, you know, nobody does any research on any organization or potential employer before they apply or during the application process. That just never happens. It just never happens. You are so special.
And in their policies, I take a look at their non-discrimination statement.
And are they conforming to the rights and laws thus granted by the federal government that cover all businesses, everything that they're responsible for, or the being disincentivized to do discrimination in their hiring practice? Boy, I'm going all over the place. It's the pepper jack or something. Okay, I'm going to stop babbling. What do you look for in their non-discrimination policies?
Is sexual orientation, gender identity, gender nonconformity, are those things listed in their policies? Are they enumerated out?
Well, here, I'll tell you what, even if they aren't, it is now official federal law that they are included in the Equal Employment amendments to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That the word sex, as it appears in the legislation, now applies to orientation and conceivably gender identity. So, yes, even now, if their policies specifically say otherwise, probably not a company you necessarily want to work for then, sure. But if they do say otherwise, they are in direct defiance of federal law. So, yeah, you might have a lawsuit at that point if they decide to reject your employment application. But anyway, I'm just talking in the broad strokes where it doesn't sound like she's going to acknowledge the law as it stands and has been understood for some time. Now, I will say, I don't know exactly when this was recorded. The Supreme Court decision on letting the word sex in the legislation cover additional concepts like orientation and so on is relatively recent, and this was only posted within the last week, but that doesn't mean that's when it was recorded, and I didn't see when it was. So maybe she is talking in a reality, a past reality, where it was not federal law. So if that's what she's talking about, then okay, I can extend her that. All the same, even before the Supreme Court affirmed that, it would be a pretty dicey situation for a company to explicitly or otherwise discriminate against gay or lesbian people. Just saying.
If so, I know that is where I want to work. I want to volunteer. That's where I want to spend my time.
But what if they're not displaying a rainbow? Are you sure you can trust them then?
So as we changed our policies for our 7th grader.
What policies did you change for your 7th grader?
I am so happy to say that Chris graduated with honors.
Which has nothing to do with Chris's sexual orientation.
Going on to do great things.
Which has nothing to do with his sexual orientation.
I encourage all of you to think about how you could shift from a small a ally to a capital A ally.
Well, you were supposed to be here to tell us. And what you told us was to be tone policing and to adjust other to custom. And if I hadn't already circled leaves out vital context, I would do so now for not telling us what policies did you shift on behalf of Chris.
Could you show that you're an ally? Maybe shift some perceptions and mindsets? If you can shape policies, that is fantastic.
What if I can only effectively do one of the three? Can I still be a capital A ally, or am I just out of luck?
And I know that I've talked about the LGBT community.
Yes.
But just think about a different marginalized population.
Marginalized. Going to the bingo card. Marginalized. Okay. Got that circled.
Because if you show, shift, and shape for that population, you are an ally who will save lives. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Relatively, as compared to other TEDx's, concise, I suppose. Let's go over the bingo card one more time with things I have not circled. Self-vilification or wretchedness. I didn't get any of that from our speaker. She doesn't seem to be in that mode. Takes credit/blame for something done, experienced by others in their demographic. I didn't get any of that from this talk. So equity, she never said the words, so far as I know. Microaggression, unconscious bias, no. I mean, she did talk about anti-discrimination policies at a workplace or something, but that doesn't quite trip the wire as far as I'm concerned. Gratuitous pausing for effect. I mean, maybe there was a moment or two, but it wasn't gratuitous. I'll take arguments to the contrary. Patriarchy, no. School to prison pipeline, no. Toxic, no. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, not that I noticed. Feminism, no. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. I don't hear anything for no reason, and she kept the 7th graders gender, neutral, even though the words of the 7th grader kind of gave it away. So it was all based around sexuality and orientation, so it all seemed pertinent. Wage gap, no. Speaker should not be in current occupation or position. I know I might get some flack for this one, but I'm not feeling circling that one. I mean, obviously she has a bias. Obviously she has an agenda. But the lesson she was pushing forward, that having somebody around who is accepting of and supportive of people who might otherwise feel like they are alone in a situation or in a experience, is not a bad one. And I know she's promoting being a bit of a Karen. I get it. But I don't think I can write her off completely on that score. So I'm going to leave that blank. Again, I'll take arguments to the contrary. Benevolent condescension. That any marginalized group obviously needs help or allyship just on the basis of what they are, always feels a little bit like a benevolent condescension. Like, obviously they need help. So I'm going to circle that one. Systemic institutional, I didn't hear her talk about that. Plays a victim. I mean, if there was any point at which she could have played a victim, it would have been the Thanksgiving dinner story. But at the same time, if her older sister really did just out her out of the blue at the family dinner table, that wouldn't be playing a victim. That would be in 1996. That would be a victim. Cultural appropriation, no. Not that I noticed. So here's what I have circled. Childhood or family anecdote, leaves out vital context, a list, anecdote that probably never happened, free space, marginalized, marginalization, word salad, benevolent condescension, and white supremacy privilege, which she did bring up. So that's what I have circled. I'll take arguments to the contrary. Let me get my bingo card displayed here real quick so I can show you guys all that. And while I'm doing that, if you have any ideas, comments, suggestions, questions, whatever, just put them in the chat now, and I'll get to them momentarily. I'll also scroll up to anything I might have missed in the last couple minutes because I know I've been babbling a bit. I just want to make sure I cover all the bases with the bingo card. And as I get the bingo card ready, let me find the bingo card. There it is. Okay, we need to get... Sorry, guys. This is the live TV portion of the show where I have to make some adjustments while I'm babbling to you. And if I did it correctly, then there we go. All right, bingo card is up. Again, I will take any comments or corrections or other thoughts on the matter right about now. Okay, scrolling up a bit. Dax Orion, Scribelight, that's weird because I got nothing from this talk, literally nothing. I didn't either. I mean, again, it would depend on what audience she was talking to, like people that had never thought about this before, but she also, for whatever reason, said that most of the audience was probably already allies. Most of these TEDx talks happen in groups. Like you'll have, one event with several speakers, and usually that event will have some kind of theme. Now, I don't know what the theme was to the event she was at. So, she was probably preaching to the choir, but with also a note knowing that this TEDx was going to go out on YouTube and be broadcast elsewhere. So she's talking to a wider audience than just those that are in the audience physically. So I can understand that. If she's encouraging people to, I don't know, go beyond just rhetoric, I guess, is not necessarily a bad thing, but it just seemed a bit, especially given the current year, let's say, kind of superfluous. Maybe that's just me. Kieverdam, isn't custom a buzzword she tried to coin? Oh, that is not a bad argument. That, you know what? I will accept that. I will accept that. So there you go. Let's see. Is that going to refresh here in a second, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Let me... there we go. That did it. So yes, okay, buzzword, buzz phrase. I'll give you that. I'll give you that because that was kind of out of the blue. That was like, what? What are you talking about? Let's see. Functional. I don't think her sister outed her. I think she just knew because, well, I mean, come on, look at her, etc. I don't know. She didn't give any context for what was going on with that or why her sister would say that at that event at that time or what the reaction from her family was. I mean, was this a known thing? Was it something they didn't talk about much? I don't know. That was the whole, one of the other sort of leaves out vital context. Like, what did that mean? How did that event mean anything to you at that point? I mean, if she'd said, my sister let out this deep, dark secret I kept for my family, and then I felt suicidal afterwards, well, that would be a relevant anecdote towards her point. And then I would have a harder time circling a square because of that. But she never did. She never elaborated. So I don't know. Assassin of the Gray, help Scribelight and Dogcat Fox, the Wonder Critter, fight the stupid from Moonbase 1. Thumb up and join the expedition. Yes. I appreciate any likes, appreciate any shares you guys do. And if you do share the link to the stream on Twitter, please be sure to tag my Twitter handle in it somewhere. Not right at the beginning of the sentence or the beginning of the tweet, because apparently then only I see it, but somewhere in the middle. That way I know you did so, and I can thank you personally, because I do appreciate that. Let's see. And we have a conversation about Disney and Star Wars going on in the chat. But hey, it's my channel, and God knows I can appreciate that. Faithless, I question the sanity of anyone who would attend a TEDx. What if I gave a TEDx? What if I finagled my way into giving a TEDx? Would you guys show up to it? If I told you ahead of time? Anybody show up to it? I mean, I did my own sort of pseudo TEDx on my channel. You can look back in my channel. It's several videos back now, but it's called TEDx Malicious Tranquility. Just look through my little library on the playlist there, and not a playlist, but on the uploaded videos, and find Malicious Tranquility. It'll look like a TEDx thumbnail, but it's got my face on it. Just watch that. If I told you I was going to do, if I somehow arranged to do a TEDx like that, wouldn't you show up? Wouldn't you show up? I think you would. Anything else? See, Gulf City says, oh man, I already closed out my card. Well, again, unless there's some really good argument to the contrary, I think the card is about as filled out as it's going to be. I don't think anything else on the card applies to anything she was saying. So I think the card's pretty much done. Assassin of the Gray, Scribelight, did they allow this student into the girls' locker room? What is the third set of genitals anyway? Again, I don't know. She didn't give us any information on why custom is somehow better than other if you're still differentiating yourself into a third category. I guess she just doesn't like the word other because she's taking it out of the context of what it was there for. I don't know. And then, of course, she said that they changed policies on behalf of Chris, the seventh grader, but she never said what or how, unless she was saying that they changed the policy to altering other to custom. Unless that was just a very awkward and not very clear way of saying that that's what she did to accommodate Chris, even though he never said anything about gender identity. He just said about sexual orientation. So conceivably, he wasn't confused about his gender identity. I don't know. Again, lack of context. No idea. Et Sesiderunt. We could show up and throw tomatoes at Scribelight. That's just mean, man. Why do you gotta be so mean? Jeez. Uzi Q, custom because you can customize your gender, so to speak. Well, she didn't say like selecting custom then takes you to another submenu where you can check off, but just change other to custom. So there really still remain only 3 options. She didn't say that there was then an alternate page or a secondary menu or something. Just change the word other to custom because other is offensive, I suppose. Daxarine, I just thought of something. Since she really likes girls, she shouldn't be allowed into the girls' locker room because it's basically a pervy dream for her. No. I'm not on board with that. I know you probably were joking, but all the same. You see, I have to talk you down from that kind of rhetoric, Dax. You see, that promotes a negative thought process. Now, see, I'm joking about a joke that I was joking about. So, well, that's some Inception shit right there. And a couple more comments, guys, then I'm going to wrap this up. Etc. Scribelight, if you were to give a TEDx, we all figured you lost your mind and the tomatoes might be there to snap you back into reality. What if I was just doing a grand po, which would totally be what I would do if you haven't seen my little TEDx self-created video. If I did a TEDx, if I actually got on a TEDx stage, I would have come up with something so legitimate sounding, but absolutely ridiculous. Just like my malicious tranquility idea. That would be my intention. If I ever ended up on a TEDx stage, that would be my intent. But I would do it. I would do it completely seriously. I would go up there and I would pitch it like I really meant it. Because that's the joke. Would anybody be able to tell the difference? Could I do the Babylon Bee of TEDx talks? That'd be my goal. And you know what? I gotta think that there have been quite a few other such attempts like that idea in TEDx in the past. I can't believe that every TEDx I've either looked at or every TEDx that's ever been done was done completely seriously. And it's possible. But given how ridiculous they are, oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, I can't believe they've all been on the level. Thank you, Jaeger Pony. Scribe would Peter Boghossian that TEDx. Peter Boghossian. Why do I know that name? I know that name. I don't know. I can think of a couple of actors with the last name Boghossian, but I don't think that's Peter. I'll take it as a compliment. Whatever you meant there, Jaeger. I'll take it as a compliment. And Mr. E says, I want to see a Grand Po TEDx. Grand Po. Grandpa? That would be funny for those who understand it. I'll pretend that I know. I'll just pretend that I know. And see, Faithless says he did the hoax papers that academia published. Oh, okay. Was that the Grievance Project? Was it those guys? Yeah, that would be my intention. If I were to do a TEDx, that would be my intention, to try to sell a ridiculous idea through whatever their vetting process is, get approval for it, and then present it verbatim on a stage with as much seriousness and forthrightness as I could manage. That would be my intention. So, will that ever happen? I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I'll keep my eyes out. I don't know. We'll see what local TEDx things happen. Of course, if I did it and then I told you about it, I'd immediately dox myself. So maybe it'd be funnier to do it and not tell anybody. Like do a TEDx on my own TEDx. Well, you'd probably be able to tell by the voice and the turns of phrases. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thought for another day. But anyway, guys, that is our TEDx for the day. Our TEDXcellence for the day. There's the bingo card as completed. We didn't hit a bingo. Came a couple of squares close in a couple of, at least in one instance, but not by much. If we'd had a different arrangement of the card, if I'd used an older card, maybe we would, but there you are. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me today for this little diversion. If you'd like to hear more from me or Ranting Monkey or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find all three of us tonight on Satsu 2 Cents' channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for The Lords of the Night, where we'll go over the news of the day, stories you submit to us, what we've been up to on the intertubes today, and then your questions and comments. Again, everyone, thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for your attendance, your participation, and everyone who donated. Thank you so much for your generosity. I hope everyone is safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.